We're sorry. All of our representatives are still assisting other customers. Please remain on the line as we value your call.
Hi, this is Peter with Paradox 9. We're going to do some Bible reading. And right now we're going right back to Genesis, the very first line in Genesis. Okay? And we're going to go down 3 lines here. And we're going to wrap up pretty much some of the biggest discoveries in science made in the last few hundred years, right? But we're talking, this was written centuries ago, and this was actually taken maybe from Babylonian texts. This could have been taken from Sumerian texts. This could have, these lines have been around a long time. This explains where man comes from. This is in the Torah. This is the Old Testament, and so this is where, by default, where Jews come from. This is by default where Christians come from. Got it. Okay, but this is told in different ways from different people, but it's all this. It kind of all boils down to the same stuff. But we're going to start at the Bible right here, and it's line 1, Genesis, the first book. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. Okay, if you're not a believer, then you're like, no, the Big Bang did or something. I get it. But for me, God created the heaven and the earth and a lot more. But anyway, in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. Good place to start. Gives us a base of understanding. There's more to it than that. As Father Mooney, who I studied under for a little bit, explained to me, weren't really reporters at the beginning, so it wasn't like they sat there and had a pencil and a pad and reported this stuff. So this is what it is, and but it gets deeper and it gets more fascinating. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. Okay, we're talking about void. That's space, right? We didn't know that till just whatever. We didn't really know that until we shot some stuff off into space. One of my favorite spacecrafts was the X-15, experimental plane, the X-15. Couldn't navigate. There was no air. And so the airplane or spaceship at that point couldn't create any kind of reaction with air. There was no air. So they put retro rockets on it, and the retro rockets would push the plane back into the atmosphere, therefore gaining control. That was the very beginning. And we didn't know that till, I don't know. What was that? The late 50s or something? I know Neil Armstrong, one of the pilots on the X-15, one of my heroes. But anyway, and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. When we're looking for space, when we're looking out in space, what are we looking for life? We're looking for water. Okay? So we shoot out into space, the void, it's dark, and we're looking for water. In the first 2 sentences of Genesis, we are now capturing a lot of science that's been discovered in the last few hundred years, if not the last 100 years, or even less. Okay, then God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. And God saw the light, that it was good, and God divided the light from the darkness. Do some scientific research. Look at what light is. It's pretty complicated. It's pretty wild stuff. What light is. Light's an interesting subject. We measure time with it. We measure speed with it. It's a molecule. It has wave patterns, but it shoots as a molecule, but shows up on a splash pattern with a wave pattern. I forget the name of the test they do. Is they take let's say they shoot molecules from photons from a gun, one molecule at a time, doom, 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 right? And they have it against a wall with 2 slits in it. Now, if you're shooting these molecules at this thing, you would think that the molecules would show or hit the wall behind it, measuring the 2 slits up and down, like this, right? What actually ends up happening, though, is as it's shooting through these slits, the 2 slits on the far end wall, the molecules start forming a line, horizontal line, going like this. And this is a weird, it's a paradox. It's very strange. I'm sure physicists can explain it. My daughter can probably explain this to me, and I'll probably be asking her about it. But for right now, for this video, what I'm getting at, though, is that we're talking about the first 4 sentences and the first 3 and the first 2. Man, it's really scientifically deep already. And this is at the very beginning of the Bible. The science is capturing this now. My deeper question is, and this is kind of weird, but what is reality? Are we making reality as we go? I mean, God's making it. But God created man in his own image. And I always find it fascinating that we find in the Bible many times the power of the word, our spoken word, our intentions. There's a lot of times that I think it's very interesting that we actually, through our creation, is a lot more special than we give ourselves credit for. And that we actually create as we move through the world. We are actually creating what's out in front of us. And I have some deeper theories and deeper thoughts on that. But, I'm going to keep it kind of short and light, because this was short and light. This is 3. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. And the earth, and that's sentence 1, book 1. Very interesting. By the fifth line here, and God called the light day, and the darkness he called night, and the evening and the morning were the first day. So he's breaking us. This thing is taking us all the way out to the beginning, the supposedly the Big Bang. Where there's nothing, void, darkness, separating, creating light, finding water, making water, where all life comes from, to this beautiful line. And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night, and the evening and the morning were the first day. That's personal. That's personal to us. Think about it. Who enjoys the evening? Who enjoys the morning? It's a personal event. You know that? It really is. God created this whole big thing. Wham, boom. I mean, wow. Probably out of my imagination. Just too much for me to imagine. But all of a sudden, from creating everything down to this very personal sentence about something we witness, a morning and an evening. And the thing is, that's the time frame in which we have to operate. He created that for us. That right there is a personal creation. That is our playground. That is where we test run the faith. That's where we get to learn about God. We get to learn about obedience to God. And when I say obedience, I mean discovering the love of God. And enjoying the love of God. And I'm not talking about fearing God. I'm talking about life and how incredible life is when you are within the love of God and faith. Do something. Do something. You know, I have a sister-in-law who always says, stand on your faith. You know, do that. Take something and stand on your faith and stand on it that you expect this thing to happen. Pray to God and have faith that this will be accomplished every day. Never give up. And if you start doubting, right away correct yourself. Come right back to the faith of what you've prayed for. See what happens. You'll find out what faith is. And then you'll see that this faith thing is a little bit more than you anticipated. Now, some of us are pretty deep, and some of us kind of already know about this faith stuff, so I'm not talking to you. Anyway, I'm talking to people that might just need to hear that. It was on my heart, so I want to talk about it. As my sister-in-law Sandra says, stand on your faith. Try it. It's pretty amazing when you pray for something and it comes true. Your prayers come true, and in bigger ways than you can ever imagine. Anyway, that's enough for now. And this is Paradox 9 out, and God bless you all. God bless you all. Oops.
We're sorry. All of our representatives